point of view. You're at a party, you're sick of the party, you wander downstairs into the basement and come past this weird room full of stuff. And this really weird girl dressed like this sitting in said room with a cup of tea. Because that's what I do at parties. I leave the party and I drink tea. She proceeds to tell you just random anecdotes from her life. That's the setting for this video. This is the craft room. It's a random room in our basement. It used to be a kitchen, I guess, because there's a stove there that works. I use it for stove purposes. It's also the wine bottling room when we make wine and then bottle it. We have so many weird rooms in this house. Anyway, I look like a hot mess. There's no point in me wearing makeup anymore just because I'll cry it off by like noon. So I'm not. So I'm looking funky fresh. Ooh, regret saying that. But yeah, guys, I cry like 10 times a day. The reason I know this is because my entire phone camera gallery right now is just me keeping track of how many times I cry per day. They look like this. I know. How is she still single? I'm wondering the same thing. My hair looks bad, and that's ruining my life. Today I thought I'd tell you some of my favorite stories to tell, because I'm just kind of terrified of everything in my life being forgotten, which is why I do the vlog thingies, so that I can remember things, but also here are some stories that did not happen in the vlogs. Okay, so oh, the smile is fake. I'm not actually happy inside. My best friend is named Grace Dow. Here's a picture of her. Grace is her middle name. Her full name is Cicely Grace Dow, but she goes by Grace. So it came up in class once when she was it high school or elementary school? I don't remember. So a guy in her class, hearing that her middle name is Grace, but knowing that her name is Grace Dow, goes home and tells his mother that her middle name and first name is both Grace, and that her full name is Grace Dow. His mother, hearing that, calls Grace's mother to say, how could you name your daughter Grace Dow? And her mother's just like, I'm sorry, what? But that is honestly just such, that makes me so happy. Gosh, that's not even my story. But Grace's name in my phone is Grace Dow, and when I call her by her full name, I call her Grace Dow instead of Cicely Grace Dow. Speaking of Grace's mother, when I lived in downtown Ottawa, first year, I would just, walk home whenever. So it sometimes included like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, midnight, whenever. So because, it's downtown Ottawa, Rideau, I mean, I felt fine being, a 19, 18-year-old girl just walking alone at night, but I did, for safety precautions, I would call up a friend and be like, hey, do you want to stay on the phone with me while I do this 10-minute walk to my dorm? And usually they'd be like, hey, Olivia, why in the world are you calling me at 1 a.m. because you're walking home? The person I called the most was Grace, because she is lovely and also was always, she's just, Grace, sort out your sleep schedule. Anyway, so she was up, but she told her mother that I, did this, and her mother was not on board, very worried about me, which is so funny because my parents didn't care. They're like, okay, if you die, you die. But Grace's mother, who is lovely, bought me and our other friend Cassidy, who goes to U of T, so she lives in Toronto, these panic alarms. This is such a story. So, which is so sweet, like, thank you. Anyway, it's like this, if you pull the pin out of this little like alarmy thingy, then it'll just scream so loudly. So I thought this was really funny. I thought it was great. So my second year of university, I didn't live downtown anymore, but I put that alarm on my keys to my house. So one day, after getting home from church, I go to unlock my door. The pin part is on my keychain, and the alarm part's just dangling, and frickin' gravity working against me pulls the alarm out of the pin, and it is now screaming. However, there is a gap between my door and like the stairs that you go up to the door. So it falls between the stairs and my house. And I can't get it out. And it is screaming so loudly.
I feel like it's part of my life now. Like when you walk up the door, there's gonna be a really loud ringing on the stairs and we're just gonna have to accept it.
And neither of my roommates are home, so I'm just like freaking the heck out over here. I don't know what to do. So I called Ben. And at this point, like, Ben and I hadn't been friends for 8 months, and then this was like the end of September, so we had been like kind of talking for like a month of sort of becoming friends again. But he's just, I don't know, the person I go to in an emergency, but don't tell him I said that, and he doesn't watch these videos, so it doesn't matter. He was also at church, and then he was driving people home, and then he had literally just gotten home when I called, and he was like, okay, you live on the other side of Ottawa, what do you want me to do? I'm like, I want you to come all the way to my house and get this thing to stop screaming at me. He's like, Olivia, I can't do that, I have so much work to do. I'm like, he really didn't have to do this. But he's just a freaking amazing person. He did drive all the way from his house on freaking, I don't know, like the far, far side of Ottawa. Why do all my friends live like so far? Anyway, to my house, where this thing is still screaming at me. And it takes us like an hour. But we eventually get it out. It stops screaming, and I don't put it on my keychain anymore. I just put it in my backpack, and I put my key on my lanyard, and everything is solved. Anyway, so I don't want you thinking Ben's like this amazing person, even though he is. So I'm gonna tell you another story that is one of my favorite stories. Backstory. So I met Ben in 2016 when I met like a lot of my best friends. And also my friend Kyla, who's super lovely. And the three of us became like a friend group. We had a group chat called Justice, which was like justice but with juice. We were 16, leave us alone. Here's a picture. I promise we are all much hotter now. So we have a group chat, and it's fun, and we're a friend group. We're the three amigos. And then freaking 2017, and Ben and Kyla start dating, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You can't do that when you're the three amigos. Two of the amigos cannot become more than amigos. Anyway, it was fine. In the beginning of 2018, Kyla and I we stopped talking. It's fine, but Ben and I were still really close. Fall comes, I moved to Ottawa. Ben and Kyla split up. I'm still not talking to Kyla, I'm still really close with Ben. And then December, rabbit trail. So, I'm just vibing, you know, just living my life. It's exam season, it's December. And then I just started thinking about Kyla a lot, which is weird because I haven't talked to her in 8 months. She and Ben split like two months ago, so she's really just like my best friend's ex-girlfriend at this point. So, you know, I don't know why, but I'm just thinking like, I just really feel it on my heart to reach out to her. But then I'm like, okay, God, I can do that, but I'm in the middle of exams right now, so let me finish my exams and then maybe I'll text her. But then I'm like, okay, God didn't give me this desire when I had time. He's giving it to me now. Who am I to say that my work is more important? So I do text her in the middle of exams and be like, hey, do you want to get coffee? And coffee didn't end up working out, but like, man, we just like vibed so quickly again. It's like nothing had changed and we're just like really close, and she's so fun. Kyla, if you are watching this, you are one of my favorite people. So yeah, December, Kyla and I become friends again. January, very big dramatic fallout with Benjamin. Yeah, not a great time. Me and Ben, not Kyla and Ben, they already broke up. Stuff happened, it's fine, I'm over it mostly, sort of. We ended on very poor terms. So Ben and I are not talking at all. But Kyla and I are friends again, which is so great. Like, it's just so cool how, like, my life was like, nothing was wrong in my life in December, but God was preparing this relationship for, like, you know, it's like, whoosh, none of this is making sense. You know, I just read my mind. So it's January, it's probably like the end of January or beginning of February or whatever, I don't know. Ben and I are talking. Kyla and I decided to get dinner, so I'm like, let's go to freaking Denny's, because I've never been to Denny's, but I've heard so many memes about it. So we do go to Denny's. Another side note, oh my gosh, I was like 10 minutes early and Kyla was like 5 minutes late to our meeting at Denny's. So I was just sitting there at Denny's for 15 minutes, and I asked for a table for 2, and then the waitress was like, hi, can I get you something? And I'm like, oh, I'm just waiting for my friend. And it looks like I'm being stood up in Denny's, in freaking Denny's. It's fine. She showed up. Anyway, so we needed to go to CNC after, and we didn't want to like bus or Uber all the way to CNC, but luckily our dear, beautiful friend Jessie Beckwith, love of my life, was dropping off her sister at Readaview, which is just down the street from Denny's. I call her, I'm like, hey, can we just meet you at Readaview and then get a ride with you to CNC, because that's where she was going after, and she's like, yeah, for sure. So, Kyle and I go to Read of You, which is my church in Ottawa, and there is no one there because we're a little bit early or something, or everyone else is just late. And when I say no one, I mean there's one other person there. Literally, if someone had asked me before this, who would you least want to be in a parking lot with? What group of people? I'd be like, okay, probably my friend who just stopped talking to me on really bad terms and his ex-girlfriend. I think that'd be a really awkward combination. Well, so it's me, Kyle, and Ben in a parking lot at like 7 p.m. in the winter, so it's like dark out, and we're just standing there. I can't totally remember what we talked about. We did a lot not talking. Oh my word. I can't believe we did this. So he's like, hi, and we're like, hey. He's like, what are you doing here? To which I said, we were at Denny's? Which isn't an answer, I realized after. That's not an explanation for why we're at Read of You. But he's just like, okay. Another thing I remember from that conversation is that I have this, a talent, a skill, some might say, of being in an uncomfortable situation and letting everyone there know that it's really uncomfortable. So I'm just standing there and I'm like, wow, isn't this awkward? I am not comfortable right now. And Kyla's looking at me like, girl, shut up. But it was fine. Anyway, the story's almost done, I promise. So then, love of my life, Jessie Beckwith, does show up, finally, to take us out of this agony. Oh, she's so lovely. In her haste to get us out of there from the worst situation in the world, she revs her engine accidentally so loudly, and just everyone who's now in the parking lot is like, what the actual heck? I love Jessie. Sorry about Jessie, because she's fantastic and lovely. I first met Jessie in 2016, like I met everyone else, and we went on a camping trip. I guess she was 15. A child. So, she hates I tell this story because every time she's like, you tell it wrong, and I don't. It's 2016. We are camping in Algonquin Park. There's this cliff, and we're all standing on this cliff, it's rest day, looking into the water, being like, I wonder if that's deep enough for us to jump off this cliff. So while we're all here, looking over the edge, trying to figure out, this blur just sprints past my peripheral vision. And I turn, and there is someone who sprinted. It's like it was a hill and that cliff. Someone who sprinted down the hill, jumped off the cliff, and into the water while we're trying to figure out if it's safe to jump in the water. It is, of course, Jessie Beckwith. Jess doesn't like when I tell the story because she's like, you tell it wrong. You need to tell the part where I first swam down to see if it was deep enough and then decided it was and then jumped. I didn't just jump foolishly. But that makes for not as great a story. And then everyone jumped because Jessie had told us it was safe. This is a picture of said cliff and said Jessie jumping off of it when she was 15. And I was 16. And now I'm 20 and drinking tea in my basement and crying 60 times a week. So things change. Oh my gosh, another camping trip. In 2019, on Canada Day weekend, I went camping with my siblings, which was pretty cool because, like, now we're adults and we can go on vacations without our parents. That's pretty neat. Backstory. There's two parts to this story. The first part is me being bitter. The second part is me being bitter. So 2016, after my first Algonquin trip with Jessie jumping off the cliff, I'm like, I'm going to paint a paddle for next year's camping trip at Algonquin Park. So I did. Here's the paddle. Yeah, pretty cool. And then I didn't even use it. 3 years pass, and now I'm going camping with my siblings. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use that paddle that I painted. And my siblings are like, you're not paddling, there aren't enough paddles. And I'm like, haha, joke's on you. I have my own, and it's purple. But then I get there, and they're like, Olivia, you're not paddling. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I brought this entire paddle, I put all this. But also, I'm like, I'm friggin' Lily Dipper of the year, so this is probably a good call. Anyway, so I just sit there in the boat while my siblings paddle, and we're just going around looking for a camp spot. We're paddling all over. We finally find a campsite that is lovely. We get there, and my brother's like, hi, I'm about to die. Fun fact about my brother, he's diabetic, so when his blood sugar gets too low, he straight up dies unless he eats food. For our first trip, we brought like tents and our clothes and absolutely no food because we're stupid. So he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna just lie in the dirt here, and you guys have to speed run back to the car, or speed paddle, dragon boat paddle back to the car get the food, bring it back to me before I die. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Fine, I guess. Just kidding. I was like we were all very concerned. It was a scary time. But so now I have to paddle, which first of all, they didn't even want me to paddle. They told me I couldn't paddle. Now here I am paddling to save the frickin' day. But I was in the front. I have no muscles, like none. We do it though. My sister Stearns and I motorboat, I don't know what this is called, powerhouse, mitochondria, back to the car, get the stuff, come back. My brother does not die. We have a great camping trip. Here are some pictures, I guess, if you're interested in our camping trip. I feel like this video is getting kind of long. I do obviously have more stories because like Phoebe and I did stupid stuff pretty much every week of first year. Emily Joyce and I have done a lot of stupid stuff too. Well, yeah, less stupid than my other thing. There's like my friends, you know, like my friends who are there jumping off the bridge with me, and then my friends who are like, Olivia, maybe don't jump off the bridge, and then my friends who are just there to take pictures. Sort yourself into one of those categories. Thanks for listening to me ramble. My dad's not going to watch this video because he says any of my videos that are over like 2 minutes are just too long. Even my 2 minutes one, he's like, they're too long. My 30-second ones, he says that's where I peak. He doesn't say that, but I'm saying it for him. So yeah. I have 80 unread messages. Quick side story. I once walked into a study room where Nate and Ben were studying. Nathan Joyce, Benjamin. And like, hey guys, I will pay you to respond to all my text messages for me because I sometimes just get really bad at responding to text messages and then they just build up and stress me the heck out. And then it's just harder to respond to them. But then Nate was like, oh, are you kidding? I will pay you to let me respond to your text messages. Ben's like, I'm just gonna make a bot that strips your Twitter account and compiles that into automatic responses for you. And I'm like, okay, yeah, never mind. I am not letting someone else have free reign over my phone. But honestly, at this point, I will pay someone to respond to all my text messages for me and my emails and my calls and go to my appointments. And just be me for a little bit while I drink tea in my basement. I've had a really beautiful life with a lot of fun and stupid and wonderful things happen. A lot of fun and beautiful and stupid people in it. So thank you for that. And thank you for being in my life. If you are, unless you're just like some random person who watched this video. In which case, thanks for being a random person who watched my video. I kind of don't think anyone does that. Except freaking Tom, who's a bot. For those who don't know, I'm not making fun of someone named Tom. Thank you, bot Tom, for telling me I have amazing content. I really appreciate that. Okay. I'll catch you on the flip side, maybe. Bye.